UFC Nashville. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card after seeing the fighters on the scales. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. And also note, I'll be live for the entire card Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss the fight companion. And let's get into the first fight on the card. Ladies are going after it in what seems like a massive mismatch. We have Fatima Kline versus Melissa Martinez. The pick for me all week has been Fatima Kline. She's a grappling talent who seems to have, pretty strong control and ability to ground and pound opponents out of there. And then also just tricky jujitsu overall. The UFC debut was against Jazz Davicius up in weight, and she did well enough. And then obviously she destroyed Victoria Dudakova, who was a good striker in her last one. Melissa Martinez is a solid kickboxer. I mean, she's got a decent stand-up style. The kicking skills are there. There's some okay punching from the outside and, can mix it up a bit in close range. But, she doesn't have a lot of power. And I think unless you could hurt Fatima Kline, a kickboxer like Melissa Martinez is not going to be able to style on her for 3 rounds and simply just out kickbox her. I think Kline, just being the naturally bigger girl, 5'6" to 5'2", is going to be able to bully Melissa Martinez a bit. I definitely anticipate takedowns. I definitely anticipate control. I think Fatima Kline is just going to be way too good at grappling. And I just think a better fighter. Martinez, okay, last time out. Ardo Yan win on a decision. And then fight before that was a while back. It was that loss to Elise Reed. So he's been pretty inconsistent. Only 5 fights since 2018. You look across the board on the other side, Kline's got 5 fights since 2023. Fights very often. And I think the Dudakova win was promising. And in a showcase of what her potential is. I was highly, rating her even heading into that Jazz Davicius fight. I'll admit, maybe a bit of overrating for the young prospect from me, but I do believe Fatima Kline can pass a Melissa Martinez test. I think she gets her down. I think she beats her up, and I think she probably finishes her on the floor. Now, let's check out these ladies on the scales. We don't have MMA Junkie on site, so we're going through the slew, but luckily they ain't hard to find, all right? Fatima Kline, I mean, she looks in shape. What's there really to say? She's lean. She's, at 115. She's looking maybe not that mean, but kind of mean. And it's way better than her at 125. Then we got Melissa Martinez on the other side. She looks all right on the scale. It seemed like she was nervous that she wasn't going to make weight. She was definitely happy that she ended up hitting the mark. And listen, I think that she's in good shape and, she's not here to just get bodied. But unfortunately, it's not about what you're trying to prevent. It's about what is. And I think Fatima Kline with those shaved sides is very aerodynamic. All right. She's going to be landing takedowns. She's going to get on top. And she could finish this fight off from top position. Ground and pound is live. I think submission is live. Dominance from Fatima Kline seems incredibly likely. I'd be pretty surprised if Martinez pulled off the upset here because I feel like she'd need a knockout. I don't see her winning a 3-round decision with Kline's ability to get this fight to the ground. And I'm really not overconfident in Melissa Martinez even being able to survive outside of the 2nd round. This is an inside distance call for Fatima Kline officially. I think ground and pound or a submission would make the most sense. I think she'll neutralize Melissa Martinez and just absolutely body her from top. So we're going with Kline to win, as most people are. She's a minus 1,400, really big favorite status, but she should win. I mean, I think minus 400 would be more acceptable for this fight. I don't know. Kind of odd. 6-1 at open is kind of crazy to me too. I think Fatima Kline's really good, but it's not like Melissa Martinez is just a corpse. She does throw strikes back, I think it's going to be either, a lopsided fight, whether it's a finish or a decision. Looking towards inside distance for Kline, it's minus 115. And then for Kline on the spread, it's actually 4-1. I do think the spread should clear. I expect 30-27s across the board if they end up going distance, but I'll even favor the finish, though. I think inside distance, I think ground and pound is a very live method of victory. You look at Fatima Kline's wins. She has 3 KOs, one submission, three decisions. Like she's been long before, so it's not an impossibility that on the opposite side Martinez could survive. But like if you're looking for better odds, you kind of have to play something like a not even inside distance is that good. Knockout props up. Don't chase odds for this fight, but Kline to clear this fight dominantly. So spread maybe on Kline 4-1. If you're looking for something, you have to parlay something. But there really isn't too much fun you can have betting wise on this fight. But Kline should definitely get the win ultimately. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Mike Davis versus Mitch Ramirez, and it's really another mismatch here. Mike Davis is a huge favorite, and I'm picking him to win over Mitch Ramirez. I don't know how UFC level Mitch Ramirez is. I mean, he took the short notice fight against Moises and he lost. He got finished by Prates on Contender Series, did land a takedown, but still violently knocked out. On the opposite side, we got Mike Davis, who, heading into that Faraz Ziam fight, had a lot of hype around him. Nice win streak, very well-rounded prospect, solid punching ability, decent straight shots, and an overall, I'd say, efficient kickboxing game, but does have some very good physicality and strength and normally good grappling. But Faraz Ziam made me doubt that aspect of him for a moment. It was a very off-putting performance. He got handled by Ziam there. He spoke about, the paint in the back and whatnot. The walls had just been painting. It was giving fighters breathing problems. He's got Lyme disease. All right, so a handful of intangibles we could say maybe too, but the truth of it all is I believe that regardless of a Faraz Ziam fight, even if Ziam knocked him out in the first round, I'd still be picking Mike Davis to beat a Mitch Ramirez type. I don't know if Mitch Ramirez is really UFC level. I think he's tough. I think he wants to win. I think he's going to fight hard. But as far as skill goes, because skills pay the bills, I think that Mike Davis is definitely a better fighter than him. Skill-wise, he's got clear advantages, and I expect him to go out there and outwork Mitch Ramirez. I think a finish is possible for Mike Davis, but my little voice in the back of my head, I don't know if it's an angel or devil on the shoulder. Depends on, what you're thinking prop betting-wise, if you're on the betting side. Like, I could see a safety first Mike Davis winning by decision. I don't know if a lot of you guys are thinking the same thing or not, but I could see Davis landing decent shots, timing a takedown, controlling against the cage, and like cruising to a unanimous decision instead of really going gung-ho on getting Mitch Ramirez out of there, especially after a loss against Ziam. And, he's looking to bounce back. And I feel like Davis is a guy, he's looking for the win. I mean, obviously a finish is great and definitely adds more heat to the momentum forthcoming and the, stock jumps once again. I don't know. I mean, I feel like KO is possible, but it's like, I don't know. Something whispers it could be a decision, but I do think Mitch Ramirez has shown the vulnerabilities. He's been finished in both of his losses, and I think we could be seeing a finish win for the side of Mike Davis in this one. We'll check Davis out on the scale. Looking to bounce back from, a pretty detrimental loss. You can see he looks solid on the scale. He's always in great physical condition. He looks confident. This is a matchup that he should absolutely thrive in against somebody that's really on the cusp of even being UFC level. But I give credit where it's due. Ramirez is in phenomenal shape. Ramirez is absolutely fucking training his ass off. You can see with the obliques popping. The dude's shredded and he wants this bad. I just don't know if he's good enough skill-wise. I'm sure he's got the toughness, and that toughness and heart might allow him to survive against Mike Davis and make it to the final bell. And maybe even land some wild shots. Like he could have competitive moments. But the pick for me has to be the side of Mike Davis to go out there and win. But I was impressed with Ramirez looking shredded and confident on the scale. And we'll feel the energy of the face-off and see what we're looking at here. Let's scroll up to it. They go face-to-face. You can see it right there. Mitch Ramirez and Mike Davis, there is a bit of a size advantage towards Mitch Ramirez over Mike in this one. And he's looking intense, staring into the soul of Mike Davis. It's just I felt like at one point Mike Davis was such a good prospect. I'm not ready to say that Mitch Ramirez comes through and beats him, but I also am not pushing a narrative that these odds are necessarily accurate to what the fight is. I don't think Mike Davis at minus 1,200 makes a ton of sense. I think that Mike Davis is a 4-1 or 3-1 favorite for sure because, he's fought better opposition. I made the argument throughout the week, and I think that the last 4 wins for Mike Davis, I don't feel confident in saying Mitch Ramirez beats any of those guys. So this is a bit of tune-up fight on paper, at least for Mike Davis. Let's see if that holds weight when the reality of the matchup hits. But I definitely think Mike Davis is better than Mitch Ramirez in pretty much every aspect of the game. And if he has an off performance and gets outworked, like I'd be pretty shocked. So minus 1200, the line just makes it like, do we want to believe in the delusional narrative of Mitch Ramirez by upset? Probably not. I'm going to go with the fat favorite. I do think that this fight was the over is plus money, plus 135 for over 2.5. Davis wins by decision is plus 190, KO plus 145, sub plus 250. Oh my God. It's like you have to pick a method to have any value here. Let's see. What's the spread like? What if Davis dominates? And I don't think that's right. Plus 275 for Davis to dominate the fight to get a finish? Oh my God. I'm surprised. I'm surprised. Because I think he can win by that spread. Plus 275 there seems like the value. I guess if that holds truth, then yeah. First time I checked the spreads this week is literally right now. I like to do it on this show. I'd say, yeah, plus 275, you should dominate. But that could be a mismark. I'm caught off by that. Seeing how big of a favorite he is, why would it be plus maybe minus 275 on the spread? Because I think it could be 30-27s across the board. I think it could be a finish. The pick is Davis for sure. I think that he wins this fight, and I think he's dominant in this fight. I really don't think Mitch Ramirez gives him substantial problems. It should be a Mike Davis runs the show and gets it done, bro, type of fight. So Mike Davis to get the win, the pick from me, and I think it's going to happen. I don't see him losing to Mitch. Next fight on the card, we got heavyweights. We got Kennedy and Nzechukwu, Valter Walker. All week, I've been picking Valter Walker, but, there's a lot of anticipation about how he's going to look on the scales here. Valter Walker started his UFC career off as a fat heavyweight, but he's in shape. 244.5, and Nzechukwu 238. I'll be honest, I want to just bring the scales up right away because there was so much anticipation for weigh-ins with this fight. There's Kennedy, heavyweight, and Nzechukwu on the scale. Looks about similar to last time. Filling out the heavyweight frame relatively well. Not fat, not shredded, somewhere in the middle, in shape for sure. And then we got to find the heavyweight weigh-in that really matters most. And it's fucking Brokeback Mountain Valter Walker with the cowboy hat. And I guess those are supposed to be cowboy boots, but they're UFC Venom socks. But, you can't fully see it with this picture here. It doesn't do it justice. He looks in shape. And I have said, I believe Valter Walker has a clear-cut grappling advantage. Regardless of people say, oh, well, in Nzechukwu, he's competed in grappling tournaments. Okay, but Valter Walker is pressure, wrestling, takedown, control, submission, threat. I think that he's too dynamic on the ground. I think Valter Walker's ground skills are really legit for the heavyweight division. Coming off back-to-back heel hooks. Obviously, the opposition wasn't great for those back-to-back heel hooks, but I could see him catching Nzechukwu in something. And I think he could definitely get on top of Nzechukwu and beat him up. Like, how does Nzechukwu fare against somebody that size-wise gives him a threat, right? Like, this is a full-sized, large heavyweight man. You see the face-off between the two. It looks like the height is about the same. On paper, Walker is listed as an inch taller, but, hard to say with the angle, right, and the sandals on and whatnot. Kennedy Nzechukwu's hair comes up a bit higher. Valter Walker's got a big-ass head. But how does Nzechukwu fare against a guy his size at heavyweight? We haven't seen him fight a heavyweight his size. He beat Danilo Marquez at light heavyweight, who was a good grappler his size and had some moments. Had his back at some points. The fight was years ago. But I think Valter Walker is getting Nzechukwu to the mat. We're on ice over here on stream. Or on video, I should say. I believe that Valter Walker, broke back or not, is gonna ride out the win. All right? Against Kennedy and Nzechukwu. Give him a little country beatdown. I'm going with the Brazilian Russian. All right. I'm going with Johnny Walker's little brother. He's a good talent. His grappling skills are legit. This is not the, Valter Walker that fought Drezhki in the debut. He sucked there, but he was fat as fuck. It looks like he's lost body fat. It looks like he's put on some muscle tissue as well. And I think that his gas tank should hold up. His physical presence, as far as grappling strength and ability, should be a big problem here. And I'm going to be picking the side of Valter Walker. And I think he's getting slept on. I know Nzechukwu can kickbox a bit. He's a minus 210 favorite, though. Walker at plus 180. I don't see Nzechukwu just beating up Valter Walker and knocking him out. I think Walker's a big body. He's going to close the gap, and he's going to look to outmuscle Kline and Nzechukwu, and I think he can get him to the ground. I do. Walker by submission, plus 450 to plus 700 range. I think he's live to get this thing done by sub. I think this fight is live, probably to end inside of the distance. But I will say there is a world that Valter Walker is successful with takedowns, but grinds out a win. There's a world where we don't have a finish on either side, and it's more of a Valter Walker embracing the smother. I could see that. That's not an unrealistic outcome. That's a possible outcome. That might even be a viable outcome for this fight here. Yeah, I'm going to go with Valter Walker, guys. I feel he's got a real chance to win this fight. He's a big heavyweight, going to be a little heavier than Nzechukwu. Definitely grappling-wise, the most difficult threat of his heavyweight career. And I would argue that it's the most difficult threat of his fighting career, because you look at previous opponents like, okay, Cutelaba can wrestle a bit, and Danilo Marquez has some jiu-jitsu. Paul Craig obviously caught him in the triangle way back, and he's a tricky submission specialist. But, like, he has had a little trouble with grapplers. Paul Craig beating him and Danilo Marquez years ago, controlling him a bit. And then, he fights a lot of strikers, and he beat Cutelaba, who, is a wrestler brawler. Valter Walker is a 6'6" grappling specialist who definitely is willing to brawl in the feet, and it gets sloppy. But, explosive and unorthodox striking pressure could even throw off the technical kickboxing of Nzechukwu and then set up takedowns. So Walker's willingness to move forward is the key to victory, and I believe he's more than. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, the ladies are going after it. Lauren Murphy versus Eduarda Moura. I mean, I thought Lauren Murphy was long retired. I didn't think she was going to come back after 2.5 years, but she decided it ain't over. So the fat lady sings, and she ain't singing. The most badass Waffle House waitress in the world, Lauren Murphy, ready to get inside of this cage with a Brazilian talent, okay? An 11-1 Brazilian grappling specialist. I'm not picking the 42-year-old who's been off 2.5 years. I'm going with Eduarda Moura. I have to go with the grappling specialist. The Jailton Almeida prospect. I mean, obviously trains on him. It's not like he's training her, but still. I think she's going to have the takedown threat. I think even striking-wise, like, is Lauren Murphy just going to kickbox her up for 3 rounds? I get it. Lauren Murphy was able to beat Miesha Tate, and stop her wrestling attacks. But, bro, it's fucking Miesha Tate at 125. And last fight for Lauren Murphy, Jessica Andrade beat her ass. But it's 2.5 years. And it's nearly 42. The layoff in itself is a problem. The 42 years of age mixed in with that layoff, it's a sign of bad timing on her shots. I think she could get outworked. There could be an obvious deterioration since her most recent fight, and it was a dominant loss. And Watermore is a tough girl. She's at the right weight class, too. She weighs in at 126, and she was fighting down at 115, trying to be a damn straw weight. Her grappling's good. And I think she can out-grapple Lauren Murphy. I don't think she's a dead woman in the striking either. I think she could have moments on the feet. I think she wins a unanimous decision. That's what I'm feeling here between these ladies. Lauren Murphy, honestly, didn't look bad on the scale. She looks in shape. Looks younger than last time. I don't know what the hell happened. Looks pretty cut up, though. Lauren, she looks ready to fight, like, all jokes aside. Eduarda Moura, she kind of looks like the Crimson Chin and Ronda Rousey had a baby. Like, this could be Ronda Rousey's daughter. Not Ronda. She goes by Ronda. But it's like, a little Crimson Chin in the mix of it all. You know what I'm saying? A little Brazilian Crimson Chin Santos, something like that. I think Eduarda Moura is going to use her grappling, and I think she's going to win. I'm going to go with the smiley prospect, I guess you could say. And then let's look at the face-off. Face-to-face. Lauren Murphy, you think it's a joke when I say the Waffle House waitress thing. Have we had her as a waitress? That's the face off. I'm going with the younger fighter by a fucking decade. I'm going with the more active fighter. A fourth of a decade off for Lauren Murphy. And she's going to be a decade older. These are like two red flags just sitting right in your face. I'm going at Moura. I think she wins. The grappling should be the ultimate difference maker. I don't see her selling in this matchup here. Now, Lauren Murphy's odds are plus 500. She's a huge underdog. Like, Moura really deserves this big of a favorite tag. But hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. The odds are wide. It's one of those fights. Looking towards the side of an over is minus 285. I do anticipate this fight going distance. Decision win for Moura, minus 180. I anticipate that. Let's see. Is there anything interesting on the spread? Minus 185 if Moura dominates. I mean, I could see 30-27s, so maybe. But it's not plus money, and it's like, it's not a guarantee that Murphy couldn't win a round. I think she gets outworked overall, but it wouldn't be insane if she had a couple of moments. But at 42, I don't know. It's like, I don't know what version of Murphy's even in this fight at this point. Too long of a layoff for my liking, plus being 42. Red flags all around. I'm going to go with the grappler who's moved up in weight, and I think it's the best decision ever because it don't seem like no walk in the park for her to hit 126 either. She's not weighing in at 124 and a half. So I don't know how the fuck she was thinking she was going to be a strawweight. So welcome to the flyweight division against a former ranked woman in Lauren Murphy. I think Eduarda Moura pulls it off. I'm going with the grappler. I'm going with the youth factor. I'm going with the right side. Next fight, we got Jake Matthews versus Chidi Bang Bang Njokuani. I have been picking Chidi Bang Bang Njokuani, but as I had warned, 171 and a half. My guy is not a fucking welterweight. He can't hit 171. Damn, he definitely can't hit 170. He's 172 and a half last fight. He's 171 and a half here, so half a pound over. Not a huge deal that he's half a pound over. Also not a huge advantage. That tells me he really wanted to make weight. How much did he drain himself down to hit 171 and a half? Chidi's a good striker from distance, and he also has dangerous clinch work. His Muay Thai is nice. Jake Matthews, efficient with his hands. He can rip some good punch combinations. His boxing's pretty real. Overall, he's also defensively sound in grappling. He's no bum. Jake Matthews been on the roster forever. He's aggressive. He's looking to close distance. He can mix it up pretty well. At moments, I feel like he looks relatively slick. Giving up 7 inches in reach, 4 inches in height, and I do think Chidi Bang Bang Njokuani has the dangerous threat of close-range elbows and knees. On top of that, long-distance strikes. I could see Chidi landing some straights. The problem lies around at 171 and a half, draining himself down big time. How does that affect the performance? How does that affect the performance? Well, I'm still going to pick Chidi to win. I'm not going to pick flip on it. But, I feel about the same as I felt throughout the week. It really depends upon what the impact of this, extra weight cut is doing to Chidi Bang Bang. You can see Chidi on the scales here. He looked scary. Looked terrible. Bro, he looks starving. He looks terrible on the scale. Look at his, fuck the body. Look at his fucking eyes, bro. He looks like he's on the brink of death. Something you see out of a fucking Walking Dead episode. I don't know. Looks like he's on starvation mode. This is, it's not a good look. Looks sick. He looks terminally ill right here. That's worrisome to me. I don't like that weigh-in. I don't like that weigh-in. I like Chidi a lot. And then Jake Matthews, he looks like he's got aura. He looks great. He looks great. Jake Matthews looks great. And then we'll look at the face-off. I mean, maybe a bit of rehydration, but still bug-eyed Chidi. Bro, he looks on the brink of death. And he doesn't even look that much taller than Jake either. I worry about the weight cut with Chidi, man. I worry a lot about the cut. I don't love this call. I'm worried. Chidi gets ran over. That's why I've said I'm not interested in the betting side. I think Chidi has a pathway to win at his, near best, but depending upon how much this weight cut is draining him and taking from his performance, right? We could be looking at red flag USA over here. Fuck a pick flip, though. Chidi's my guy. I'd rather ride into the valley of death with Chidi bang bang on a terrible weight cut, barely able to move and getting fucked up, than pick flip and then Chidi go out and beat his ass and I'm pissed off. Not a fight I'd throw cash at on the Chidi side, though. Chidi don't look bettable to me. Njokuani, minus 160. Matthews, plus 140. Chidi bang bang as the slight favorite out here. Slight favorite bang bang. Let's see. Over 2.5 sits at minus 160. I lean towards that. Matthews to win on the decision side. Let's see what that line is. Plus 140 for Chidi decision, plus 250 for Matthews. I think it's going to be a competitive fight. I could see moments for both. Minus 190. Matthews. Spread. That's not crazy. That's not the crazy, bro. But I'm going to say that Chidi bang bang. It's a really hard fought win, but I'm worried about the gas tank. I'm worried about the weight cut. And Firefox is bothering me. What the hell is going on? Can Firefox getting in my face? Different tab open. What the hell was that? What the hell was that, bro? What the hell was that? See that? You guys didn't see it. It glitched out on me. I'm going with Chidi bang bang to find the way, but like you can hear it in my voice. Money-wise, keep it in your fucking pocket. I'm keeping it in mind. I like the pick of Chidi. I like Chidi's style. I've been an OG Chidi fan, and I'll continue to have some faith, especially he is 3-0 at welterweight. He's not making welterweight, but against welterweights. I say he gets a hard-fought one here, but red flags all around it. Red flags all around it. I'm worried talking about it. I feel fucking like pick flip is almost coming out of my voice. No. Fighting myself back and forth. Feature prelim of the night. We got Chris Curtis versus Max Griffin. I am picking the side of Chris Curtis as a piece of the Lock City parlay. I believe in Chris Curtis at 170. I think he could have been at 170 for a while, but chose to, fight up in weight, limit the weight cutting, and take on some, dangerous middleweights and actually put out good performances. I mean, he was in a tooth and nail war with Brendan Allen. Obviously took a bad loss. Like Kopylov put him out, but Kopylov's fucking awesome though. Chris Curtis has got heavy hands. He's a tricky southpaw who throws heavy punches. Mixes his boxing combos up pretty well. Decent hooks over the top. Pretty patient when need be, at times too patient, and can get picked apart on the outside by longer strikers. But Max Griffin, I don't see styling on Chris Curtis. Max Griffin is literally win-loss, win-loss, win-loss. He has decent lateral movement. His hands are okay. He kind of has like a pigeon-toed stance. It's very interesting. I noticed that years ago when he fought against Mike Perry. He's got some speed, but his striking is not that good. It's solid, I would say. But like Chris Curtis has the boxing advantage and he's got the power advantage. And I see him landing bigger shots on Max Griffin. I don't think Max Griffin can just like slip, slide, and move on Chris Curtis for 3 rounds. Griffin coming off a pretty bad loss with Chiesa, but to be fair, it's a polar opposite style. Chris Curtis is coming out to fight, and throw bombs, whereas Chiesa is coming out to outwork you on the mat and strangle you. I think that Chris Curtis can land bigger shots on Max Griffin. I think he can back Max Griffin up, kind of make him run a bit. I think there's going to be bigger moments for Chris Curtis throughout the fight. And I think Chris Curtis goes out there and gets a win. Maybe not the easiest walk in the park, but a good win. And I think he lands some big punches too. Like I could see him hurting Max Griffin at some point in this fight because I do think Curtis has a pretty clear-cut punch power advantage. We'll look at Max Griffin on the scales first. Dude is 39, but I'll tell you, man, he don't look a day over 32. He looks young, and he's in damn good shape. He's shredded up. Max Griffin's ready to go. He's not trying to, be on a 2-fight losing streak or anything like that. Then on the opposite side, we got the action man. We got Chris Curtis. He looks in really good shape at 170. This could end up being the best decision ever. He did really well as like a teetering on the top 15 85er for a long time. Now he takes on a Max Griffin who's, relatively 50-50 in all honesty. Max Griffin is, decent. He gets wins, but he loses a lot too. It's win loss pretty consistently. And now he takes on Chris Curtis, who I just think is a better winner and a better fighter. There's the face-off between the two. Curtis looks solid at 170. I don't think the weigh-in is going to be too detrimental. Obviously, cutting an extra 15 pounds, but he definitely could have lost it. Like, he was in solid shape at 185, but now he's, like, shredded up and in, like, true top caliber shape at 170. And Curtis has been here before at 170. I think that Max Griffin's getting stung up with big shots. I think Curtis can have a decent performance here at 170 pounds and kind of get back on good terms, you know? Because right now, losing his last two, and obviously the most recent one being a rough loss to Kopylov, the stock has dropped a bit. But even in the loss to Brendan Allen, like, it felt like his stock rose. He gave hell in that fight. And he nearly got Brendan Allen in that fight too. 3-1 favorite. Chris Curtis is wide as hell as the favorite. But I do think he wins as a 3-1 favorite. Max Griffin plus 250, fair size underdog. And I think he deserves the underdog status here. Chris Curtis is, veterans. I mean, both the veterans, but higher level veteran savviness and better boxing, better power. The over 2.5 is minus 260. Curtis to win by a decision, minus 135. What's Curtis KO? Plus 265. Curtis, most significant strikes, minus 200. Let's see what these significant strikes. Over 67.5. I say, yeah, it's live. I say it's live to go over 67.5. Curtis spread, minus 650. Griffin plus 400 if he dominates. Interesting. Weird spread. I mean, yeah, but I don't like those. I'm going to say this. I believe that Chris Curtis is live for a finish, but him going out there and winning a unanimous decision, landing more significant shots, and getting it done against Max Griffin makes a lot of sense to me. It like almost makes too much sense. That's why I felt like it was a Lock City parlay piece. I don't think Griffin is going to be able to deal with the hands of Chris Curtis. And I think Curtis has bigger moments throughout the fight. And I think Curtis goes out there and ends up getting the job done. And I'm pretty excited to see what he can do at 170. I think it's a good career move for him. Next fight on the card brings us to our main card opener. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe it up. We got Junior Tafa versus Tuco Tokkos starting it off. And we also have a light heavyweight Junior Tafa, where I feel like the scale has meaning here in this fight. I've been picking Junior Tafa throughout the week. I haven't been impressed with Tokkos. He lost by submission against Umar Sy. Outside of the UFC, well, I guess it was on the road to the UFC, so still a similar product. He got knocked out badly by Ming Yang Zhang. But to be fair to him, at UFC Tampa, he gave Navajo Sterling an okay fight. He went the distance, and, I think it's a net positive outcome for him, not going out there and getting chinned by a pretty crafty kickboxer. But the issue I have here is it doesn't tell me he's not getting stung up with big shots by Tafa. When Tafa's on, he's actually pretty good on the feet. His punches are powerful. He rips good shots and even had Muhammad Usman uncomfortable at times. And Usman's a really big heavyweight. Right now, it's like a known fact, right? You get a Tafa brother to the ground and it's game, set, match. But he still went distance with Mo Usman. And Rogerio de Lima beat his ass, chopped up the legs and beat him. But Rogerio de Lima's good, man. The Mo Usman loss, the win against Porter, and then, the Sean Sharaf knockout, where it was at heavyweight. He didn't really look in that good a shape. And I think maybe that performance is what inspired him to commit, because he had spoke about 205. But maybe that one was like, all right, what am I doing? Former Glory kickboxer with a knockout ability and an entertaining striking style versus Tokkos, who's going to look to press him up against the cage, who's going to want to get this fight to the ground. He's going to be outmatched as far as the stand-up game goes, but I would say he's the better grappler. How good at getting it there? I haven't been blown away with Tokkos' takedown game. As much as we can flack Tafa's ground skills, I can see him stopping takedowns. This looks like a different human. This is not the Junior Tafa that we remember. This is in shape Junior Tafa with some visible abs. He looks lean. His face looks different. Looks younger, to be honest. This is Tafa taking this shit very seriously. Then on the opposite side, we got Tuco Tokkos. Kind of looks like a template fighter build, to be honest with you. Put a little hair on the chest, shave the head, grow a beard, and bam. I think that Junior Tafa should knock him out. I really do. I think it would be bad for him to sell in this one. You can see the face off here between the two. Calm face off. Nothing really to take away besides, Mick with his eyes closed in the center. I think Tafa knows and Tokkos knows that a loss for either one of them could end up being walking papers. Maybe less likely for Tafa because he is coming off a win, but it was a low caliber win. It was against a guy debuting on short notice who only had 4 pro fights. I think Tafa's hands are going to be a big factor here. I think he's going to land big shots. I think he can knock Tokkos out. I feel like light heavyweight Tafa has a limitless potential. Now, I'm not saying he's the next world champ, but him dropping down to light heavyweight, dialing in, getting in good shape, making the weight, looking solid on the scale, and not dehydrated, just looks in shape. It tells me he could do something. Like there's a potential that he could reach higher than when he was sticking around that heavyweight, kind of showing up skinny fat. I'm going to say that he gets past the Tokkos test. I think he can knock Tokkos out. I think he can land some big punches. I think he can hurt Tokkos bad and put him away. I don't think Tokkos is all that. Plus 145 for Tokkos, minus 170 for Tafa. Obviously, betting-wise, maybe it's one you want to just sit out because you're like, yo, man, Tafa's been taking losses and Tokkos is too. So, you have a battle of 2 lower caliber guys. But I think that there's more potential with Tafa. He's younger. He was a decent kickboxer. Decent enough. I guess not really good, but decent enough. He's got good MMA striking. He's got knockout ability. And I think he can put Tokkos away in this fight. I think the Tafa brothers are due for a win. Tafa by KO sits around minus 110, minus 120. I think he's going to get the knockout. I see him cracking Tokkos with some big shots. I think Tokkos is too available to be hit. Obviously, Tuco is going to be looking to get this fight to the ground. He wants to, take him down, take his back, and choke him out, or beat him up with ground and pound. And if Tafa does hit the ground, his jiu-jitsu is pretty bad. Very limited, almost non-existent get-up game. I would say inefficient grappling defense for the most part. But on the feet, he's good. And you have to be under the assumption that he's gotten better at grappling defense. You have to. You have to be under that assumption. Yeah, Valter Walker is going to submit him, but I've been hyping up Valter Walker this card. You guys know I'm picking Valter Walker as a dog. I don't think a Valter Walker loss is terrible. And I think a Tokkos fight, guy who's there to be hit, who's not really that good anywhere, wants to fight on the ground, but isn't sensational. I think Tafa can beat this level. And I'm going to say Tafa goes out there and chins Tokkos in relatively violent fashion, I believe. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got heavyweights. Vitor Petrino making the UFC heavyweight debut versus Austen Lane. This is an interesting fight because Petrino was such a blue chip prospect. Like, it seemed like the UFC, put the fast track on him. It's like, okay, you got some wins. It's like, all right, here's Anthony Smith. Like, you should knock Anthony Smith out, right? Wrong. Anthony Smith catches him in a gilly. He put himself into it by picking Anthony Smith up and then getting tapped. So, okay, you lose Anthony Smith. Well, we'll give you an aging kickboxer and Dustin Jacoby, more your speed. He lands some decent shots in the fight, but wrong. He gets knocked the fuck out in round number 3. To be fair, though, Dustin Jacoby's been looking good, and he just fucked up Bruno Lopez pretty bad as well, another Brazilian striker. It's like, okay, let's move up. So now we have heavyweight Petrino, and they give him one of the worst heavyweights on the roster. Austen Lane, 13-6 record. All 6 losses by knockout. I've watched him since the Greg Hardy days. Lane is definitely hittable. He throws hard shots, but he is habitually a chin riser. The chin comes up high, the hands come low, and he doesn't really block extremely well. But he did land a big shot against Mario Pinto, who's a nice striker last time. But I think Petrino being like this explosive powerhouse and a bit of a wild man with a clear speed advantage, it should work in the heavyweight division against somebody of Austen Lane's level. I don't think Lane can get Petrino to the ground and out-grapple him. I don't think Lane is going to be outworking him. Lane could land punches. Obviously, he knows how to throw one, right? It's not like he's never won a UFC fight either. He beat Rebellis to Spain by a decision. But I think that Vitor Petrino can win this fight with power. If need be, I do think you could out grapple Austen Lane and get on top of him and land big shots. But I've seen Lane knocked out too many times to be able to like say, oh, I'm picking Lane. No, I think Petrino gets a highlight reel here. And I think Petrino's live to knock Austen Lane out in the first round, especially because Lane, being the taller fighter, is going to be punching more downward with naturally having the vulnerability of the chin coming up high and the neck a bit long. Petrino ripping big power shots over the top, I think could be an efficient attack for him. Like a wild left hook or a big right over the top. This lands right on the chin. I think Petrino's explosiveness and speed is going to show itself in this fight. And like he should be able to beat bottom of the barrel heavyweights at the worst. I don't think he is a complete sell. But there he is. Heavyweight Vitor Petrino is freakishly huge. I'm going to say this. I think he's on fucking steroids because that looks like bodybuilding bulk muscle. Like he looks roided up. Look at his puffy face. Like there's got to be some testosterone or something in the mix here. Holy shit, he blew up. He fought at 205 last time. He weighed 249 pounds for this fight. That's an insane difference. Holy shit. He was jacked and shredded at 205. Now he's just huge at heavyweight. He's a massive man now. Thick frame. He's heavier than Austen Lane is. There's Austen Lane on the scale. He looks all right. In shape. Not too many tattoos to see what he's working with there, but looks in shape. And then we got the face off between the two, which I think is going to be a pleasure. Look at this fucking face off. Vitor Petrino looks like a different human being. He looks fat from this angle. He got a little bit of that fucking top gut. Look at the stare down. Petrino just staring into his eyes. I mean, I think Petrino should destroy him. He's got just a straight power-based build. The worry is, though, that Petrino maybe is, checked out. But I don't think so. It looks like he put on legit muscle. He looks like he put on 15 pounds of fucking muscle mass with, 20 pounds of fat. But it is what it is. I'll take the fat. He was 205 last time. Now he's 249. So there's a 41-pound weight difference between weigh-ins, right? 40 pounds gained. Of course, he cut weight to get down to 205. He probably put on about 20 pounds of real size. I'm sure he walked around in the 230s. Maybe too late, high 220s. Now he's, 249 pounds, and he looks every bit of 249. He looks like a fucking animal. Dude, I think Austen Lane is getting starched. I don't know, man. Vitor Petrino at heavyweight, maybe this was destiny. Mythical fighter. Because him putting on that weight, he had power at 205. Can you imagine the type of power he has up in weight? I think Petrino's going to land some big shots, especially with the speed edge. His lack of technique now becomes more so negated because of his speed advantage that he's going to have on guys like Austen Lane. Minus 700 for Petrino, plus 500 for Lane. The pick for me is Petrino by violent knockout. I think it's going to be impressive. I think it's going to be fun to watch. Petrino to win via KO is the official pick, minus 240. KO round number 1, also going to be the official pick, plus 200. I think he's knocking him out in the first round. Lane's been chinned a lot. I think this powerhouse Petrino build could be terrifying. Like, he looks just like a ball of fucking muscle, man. Dude looks scary. I'm blown away by this fucking weigh-in, man. Holy shit. This is a different animal, man. This is a big behemoth of a Brazilian. He's fucking wide as a house, bro. I don't know if he's fitting through this fucking door to get inside of the studio, right? That's scary. I'm going with the fucking freak. I'm going with heavyweight Vitor Petrino to violently chin Austen Lane. He looks insane. Like that Brazilian Mike Tyson vibe, but heavier. Holy shit. Let's keep running up the card. Next fight, we got Nate Landwehr versus Morgan Charrière. So I have been picking Morgan Charrière throughout the week. The reason I like Morgan Charrière here is I feel as though he's the sharper blade between the two. Technically a more sound striker. I would say more efficient with his striking attack. Like Landwehr's game is very much built upon being able to absorb damage and then fire back and hurt opponents and wilt them. But in this matchup here, I think Charrière is ready for 3 hard rounds. I think he could outwork Nate the Train in a high-paced fight, too. We've seen Charrière in a high-paced fight against Chepe Mariscal, and he ended up doing pretty well. Obviously, last fight, he got fucked up bad by Nathaniel Wood, but Nathaniel Wood is nowhere comparable to Nate the Train. Like, Nathaniel Wood is the antithesis to Nate the Train. He's a clean kickboxer with extreme precision and technical abilities, whereas Nate the Train is a ballistic wild man, country banging brawler looking to throw hammers and engage in wars. I think Morgan Charrière is going to be too slick and technical for that. I think Charrière catches him with good punches and kicks. I think if Nate the Train tries to grapple, Charrière can counter those attacks. I think Charrière could potentially even land takedowns. I don't think Nate the Train is getting past Morgan Charrière. I know I'm picking a Frenchman in Tennessee against a guy from fucking Tennessee. This is kind of crazy. Seems like it could be trouble. I think Nate the Train's going to swing bombs. I think he's throwing caution to the wind. I think it's going to be like one of those wild brawls. I think he's just putting it all out there. I think Nate the Train's coming out hard, throwing hammers down, trying to back Charrière up and win in a brawl. But I think he's going to get outworked with slickness. And I think he could get hurt in this fight. We've seen Nate the Train knocked out. We've seen him hurt in fights before. Morgan Charrière knees him in the face and knocks him out sub 1 minute. That's a method of victory that's possible. We've seen Landwehr knocked out with knees early in fights. I think Morgan Charrière does beat him. I could see a KO, but I lean towards the side of decision because of, Nate the Train's dog toughness. But Charrière's got the knockout ability, a ton of wins by knockout, and he is all gas, no breaks type of fighter. He's not a brawler per se, but he's a high-paced fighter. I'm going to say Morgan Charrière. It's a potential for a later stage KO in a back and forth fight, but it could even be early though, because Nate the Train was getting stung by Jamal Emmers. I think Charrière is going out there and doing damage, and I think he's getting a violent win. I'm going with Morgan Charrière to do it and to hurt Nate the Train and to put Nate the Train away. I'm going with Charrière for the W, but respect Nate the Train coming in looking shredded at 37. I think it's Lost City. He's in shape for sure. He's a wild fucking man. He looks crazy. Per usual, Nate the Train looks nuts, man. Nate the Train. I met him in real life. He's actually a nice guy. On the opposite side, we got Morgan Charrière. XXX Tenacion look. He's in shape. Ready to go. Typical. Look like a fucking bantamweight, though, to be fair. He is built kind of like a bantamweight. But then when they face off, he doesn't look like a bantamweight. But in that picture, he did. A little taller, too. I don't think a 37-year-old Nate Landwehr is beating Morgan Charrière. I feel like Charrière is going to go out there and handle business. I think he lands more significant shots. I think there could be grappling exchanges and scrambles, and Charrière ends up on the right side of them, ending up on top. Nate the Train coming off the bad loss to Doo Ho Choi. I think he could be due for another loss here too. And I'm going to predict that Morgan Charrière looks solid in this fight. Minus 265 for Charrière. Nate the Train plus 225. Damn wide odds here. But Charrière's a lot slicker, so I don't think it's that far-fetched to say Charrière deserves this type of favorite status. Over 2.5 rounds sits at minus 150. I'll anticipate the over. Let's see. Charrière to win by KO is plus 200. Charrière by decision plus 145. Charrière to dominate Nate the fight plus 105. Could Nate win a round? Over 52.5 significant. If there's a decision, I say yes to that. I think Morgan Charrière lands more significant shots. He could hurt Nate the Train. I wouldn't guarantee he hurts him. Could see him landing big shots, though. I could see him backing Nate up. Nate coming forward, then throwing heat, trying to fire back. Charrière landing better shots. I just think there's going to be a speed advantage and a technicality edge that's just too much of a gap for Nate the Train to close, especially at 37 against, a 29-year-old French kickboxer, which is just a fucking red flag. As I said, 39-year-old French kickboxer. Talk about fucking red flag. I got to put a different zin in for that. I deserve it, chat. I deserve it. The pick is none other than Morgan Charrière, and I think he is live to stop Nate. Good fight coming, though. Next fight on the card, we got Calvin Kattar versus Steve Garcia. I've been picking Calvin Kattar against the masses. I've been picking Calvin Kattar. I've been having nightmares. I've been having dreams. I haven't been having anything like that. To be honest, I've been thinking about this fight pretty much every day this week. I've just spent random amounts of time throughout the day just pondering on this matchup. And as the days go by, I'm like, if Kattar isn't washed, and I don't think he is, I like his chances more and more. Steve Garcia is hittable with straight shots. You could hit him with a stiff jab. You could hit him with a nice right. You could stay moving on him and slip his big punches and block his wild barrages. He can get clinched up by Calvin Kattar. I'm not saying Kattar needs to take him down, but he could clinch up with him, defend the chaos, land better shots. I think Calvin Kattar is going to do well. I think Steve's going to come throwing bombs. He could get countered and caught himself. I could see Steve getting knocked out. I'm going to pick Calvin Kattar to win, though, more in the later stages of decision, though. I think that Garcia early in the fight could back Kattar up and land big. I think Kattar could fire some counterbacks. But I do think that Steve has moments in the earlier stage. But as Kattar finds his range, and especially if he's picking up where he left off last time, I think you could find some shots on Steve Garcia. And in like a technical fight, let's say this, let's guarantee, this is fantasy, but let's guarantee this fight goes distance. When I look at their skill sets, I see Calvin Kattar as the more efficient boxer and also more efficient with his movement. I see on the opposite side, Steve Garcia, a powerhouse berserker and an absolute fun to watch wild man, but absolutely a fun to watch wild man who throws big clubbing shots. But I think Calvin Kattar can get to the target first. I think he can land cleaner. And I think Calvin Kattar is going to go out there and pull off the victory against Steve Garcia. I'm going with Calvin Kattar. I'm feeling decision. I could see some big counter shots landing. I don't know how Steve fares with somebody with an ability to defend. It's not like Kattar is completely inept. I know Max Holloway landed tons of shots on him, but it's Max Holloway. I don't think Steve Garcia has that type of accuracy. Kattar also never knocked out in his career before. I don't think he's getting knocked out. He's got a good chin. These New England guys are tough, man. I'm saying Calvin Kattar decision, and I love the over 1.5. It's part of the Lock City parlay. I think we're going over around 1.5 here. Let's look. What are we looking at here? All right. We got Calvin Kattar. To be honest with you, I can't get a good angle on this guy. We got Calvin Kattar. What is there really to say? I mean, he's in shape. Looks solid. I got no substantial marks. No substantial marks to be made here. All right? Nothing crazy to be said, man. Let's get Stevie boy. And then we got Steve Garcia. I'm telling you, man, he always reminds me of like the template created fighter from UFC Undisputed 3. I swear to God, the same fucking ears, bro. You remember that template created fighter? Come on. If you're an OG, you'll know what I'm talking about. Same fucking ears and similar head shape, too. I mean, Steve looks okay. The scales don't mean fuck all in this fight. Yeah, they're both going to come in ready to fight. They're going to face off, and it is what it is. You can see similar height between the two of them. Steve Garcia flexing out his traps heavy. Honestly, so is Calvin Kattar. There's an intense stare down between the two. I think Calvin Kattar can still go out and make this a fight. Steve definitely got some aura, but I think Kattar is going to be able to defend some of the big shots and land some of his own. I like the over. I like the over 1.5 a lot. Obviously, that's why it's part of the Lock City parlay, but I think Kattar's a live dog here. Plus 105 for Kattar, who I rate as the slicker boxer. Obviously, on the other side, we got the more powerful boxer in Steve Garcia. Minus 125 for Steve Garcia. And then let's see here. Garcia to win. No, excuse me. Kattar to win. Oh, shit. I'm botching it. Kattar to win by decision plus 350. Nah, let's go over 1.5. Fuck the rest. Over 1.5 minus 165. Parlay it up with something. Bang, bang, bang. Let's see. Plus 115 for a Kattar spread. I think Kattar wins by a decision. Minus 165 for the over 1.5. I think it's competitive. I think Kattar can pull through, though. I want to drink some more of this water. It tastes fabulous. You guys ever have a sip of water like that? Where you feel like you can't fucking stop? That's how I just felt. I'm going with the side of Calvin Kattar by decision. I think he can land some straight shots. Steve's a little upright. He's a little slower with his side-to-side movement. Isn't super slick with head movement. Throws big shots, like I said. But I think Kattar can land. He's not chasing him like he had to do with Yusuf Zalal. And he had moments late. I'm going Kattar for the dubs. Give me Calvin Kattar. Next fight. We got the co-main event. We got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson versus Gabriel Bonfim. I've been picking Gabriel Bonfim to beat Stephen Wonderboy Thompson all week. Listen, Wonderboy is a freaking maestro of kickboxing. He's technically sound as they come with the karate-based striking style. The movement, the distance striking, the side kicks to the body, the efficiency, which he's able to manage distance and navigate range. I mean, listen, it's a one of one. He is the perfect style for representing karate and MMA and how karate could be effective in a true fight. But unfortunately, he's 42 and a half, and he's taken on a 17-1 Brazilian berserker. Gabriel Bonfim starts fights very quickly, and he's looking to take people down and finishing them, or he's looking to throw bombs on the feet. Either or, but in a pure kickboxing match, yeah, Wonderboy from distance is too sharp. Distance management's too clean. But I'll tell you this. Bonfim is going to pressure Wonderboy, make him uncomfortable, back him up, and get his ass to the ground. I think Bonfim on the mat is very live to win by submission. I think he completely dominates Wonderboy in grappling. I think he's going to be able to take him down, and I think he's going to be able to sub him up. If Wonderboy is able to potentially get to a sprawl position and get under Bonfim, he could get caught in a Darce choke or potentially even a ghillie. If Bonfim is in top position, half guard, I could see Bonfim working towards an arm triangle. I could see big ground and pound. Wonderboy's looking to potentially give up his back and then look to climb from there. I could see Bonfim fully taking that back and locking up a rear naked choke, flatten Wonderboy out and landing big ground and pound. I think Bonfim's grappling skill set differential in this fight is going to be huge. But on top of that, it's because Wonderboy's 42 and a half. This is not a 35-year-old Wonderboy. This is not a title challenger Wonderboy. This is a Wonderboy who's 1-4 in his last 5, who's gotten finished in his last 2. And sure, he had decent striking moments with Buckley, for sure. But that was also the perfect fight. It's another striker. Even if Buckley's threatening with takedowns, Buckley's still a power-hitting striker. Fight before that, Shavkat obviously has some striking moments, but he gets taken down and submitted. I think Bonfim pressures Wonderboy, gets him to the ground and beats him. I think Wonderboy, we're going to see the worst version of Wonderboy ever, and I think we're going to see the best version of Bonfim ever. 27, the rate of improvement is too vast here. I'm saying the best version of Gabriel Bonfim ever and the worst version of Wonderboy we've seen in a very long time. I'm going with Bonfim to win by submission, and I think he's getting Wonderboy out of there. I think he passes the Wonderboy test, and unfortunate for the beloved OG, there's still all love for him. Get him on the desk more often, UFC. He's the best guy for the fucking job. Wonderboy at 42 still looks pretty good, but at 42, it's like, all right, he's losing 2 in a row by finish. Like, when's it going to crack? But it's like, has it already cracked, kind of? Then there's Bonfim, young prospect looking jacked. And then we'll look at the face-off. Not looking Vitor Petrino jacked, but looks pretty jacked. Then there's smiles and love at the face-off. Of course, Bonfim's excited. He's probably fighting one of his fucking heroes in this one. I'm picking the side of Bonfim to win by sub. Look at the face-off. Look at the intensity. It's chill. I'm fucking around saying, look at the intensity. They're smiling at each other. These guys are boys. They look like they're about to play a game of pickup basketball or some shit. I think that Bonfim submits the powerful kickboxer and legend of striking in Wonderboy. Great fighter, but it's Bonfim's fight. Minus 450 for Bonfim, plus 350 for Wonderboy. Let's see here. Let's see. Under 2.5, minus 132. I favor Bonfim to win by sub. That's the official method. It's only plus 125, which isn't great. He beat Angelosa by a decision, but that was after the loss to Dalby. I think he had to prove a point that he could go distance. I think we see a Bonfim get Wonderboy out of there. I don't think Wonderboy's just kickboxing him up from range all night. I don't think he can keep Bonfim off of him. I think if I'm Bonfim, I'm looking at Pantoja's style with Akai. Obviously, very different matchup in some senses with different striking styles, but high-level jiu-jitsu, high-level striking, Bonfim should not give Wonderboy space to work. If Bonfim plays the technical kickboxing game, he's going to get Vicente Luque. Wonderboy will beat the shit out of him for 3 rounds if they just kickbox from distance. I don't care if he's 47 years old. I don't care if he's 52. But assuming that Bonfim is going to bring his aggressiveness early, look to get this fight to the ground, mix it up with dirty shots and close, I think it's Bonfim by sub. I'm going to pick him over the great Wonderboy. So I'm going with Gabriel Bonfim in the co-main. Let's keep running up. We got one fight left. Main event of the evening. Derrick Lewis versus Taliesin Teixeira. Now, all week, I've been picking Taliesin Teixeira. And I've been thinking we might get an unmotivated Derrick Lewis. Instead, we got an emaciated Derrick Lewis. Now, he didn't look starved, but we'll look at the scale in a second. Derrick Lewis, 261, didn't cut weight. This is record-breaking shit. This is the thinnest Derrick Lewis has ever looked by far. We'll pull it up in a second. Why I picked Taliesin Teixeira is I do believe in the new generation. He's a dangerous striker. People talk about the Arthur Lopez fight. Yes, Lopez was throwing hammers at him. But Teixeira knocked him out in under 2 minutes. Is it really a struggle if you're never knocked down, if you're hit with a couple shots and backed up a bit, but then you knock out the guy with one shot and it's a fight that lasts less than 2 minutes? That guy give you trouble? Or he won the first minute against you? You see what I'm saying? I think Taliesin Teixeira's striking is dangerous. He's got a good Brazilian Muay Thai-based style. Nasty clinch work as well. Good knees to the body and elbows. He showed against Tafa. Seems to be getting a lot better. Seems to have decent speed for a 6'7" heavyweight, which isn't that common. 259, so 2 pounds lighter than Derrick Lewis at 6'7". He's pretty light on his feet, I'd say. Let's look at the damn scales. All right. So we got skinny Derrick Lewis. And I know Derrick Lewis is doing this because, he's in the later stages of his career. He wants to be able to keep up with these younger guys. He's still thick boy Derrick Lewis, but no titties on him, right? A little bit of abs, never shredded, but like this is the most in shape I've ever seen Derrick Lewis. But when he was, knocking people flat as the heavy-handed 265 monster, like I didn't think it was a problem either. It worked for him then. Derrick Lewis is incredibly unorthodox. He has a weird style, right? It's power-based. It's not the most technical. He throws bombs. He doesn't use technique-based grappling to get up. He uses brute physicality, and it fucking works for him because Derrick Lewis is a powerhouse. Does he lose a bit of that strength trimming this weight down? Remains to be seen. Then we got Taliesin Teixeira on the other side. He's winning no physique contest. He's a bird chest. He's skinny fat, but he's a good stand-up fighter. His game is solid. His kickboxing is smooth. He doesn't look like he does much strength and conditioning, but I could be wrong. There's the face-off, the side-by-side. 40-year-old Derrick Lewis, who has been out for little over a year, the lightest weigh-in yet. But don't tell me when you look at D-Lou from the side. Eliminate your bias. Did he fucking lose Mystique? Is he getting knocked out in less than a minute? I think Taliesin Teixeira is about to knock his ass out in the first round. I think less than a minute's possible. I know you're crazy. I'm thinking of that Matt Mitrione fight. I don't know. I'm thinking in the Pavlovich fight, he gets caught and put away. He's fighting a fast striker. He's not fighting a Rodrigo Nascimento striker. Oh, but Nascimento's got more UFC fights. True, but he also has more evidence that he's mid as fuck. And he's losing in PFL. Oh, well, Taliesin Teixeira, he's not going to finish him. Jailton Almeida didn't. Jailton just grappled with Derrick Lewis the whole fight. Teixeira's looking to strike. Oh, well, Derrick Lewis knocked out another Brazilian, Rogério de Lima, but he was shorter, powerful for sure, and a good striker, and Lewis hit him with the perfect flying knee, and Lewis was an underdog who I picked in that fight. People were writing him off then, and I wasn't. I think I'm writing Derrick Lewis off at the perfect time. I get it. Taliesin Teixeira doesn't have a signature win. I understand that. This is his chance for one. He's getting put in this main event because I think there's a faith in the potential here. I think he's catching Derrick Lewis with a big shot. 40-year-old Derrick Lewis getting knocked out in the first round. I'm seeing it. I'm going Taliesin Teixeira by KO. I think he's beating Derrick Lewis here. Yes, he's a career low weigh-in. But I don't know. Something tells me. Doesn't matter. It's not going to matter. Teixeira is still going to be faster. He's still longer. I think he lands bigger and he lands first. And I think he puts Derrick Lewis away with a good counter shot. I'm going with Taliesin Teixeira by knockout in this fight. Minus 300. Teixeira's odds have grown. So it seems like there's love for Teixeira post weigh-in, even though Lewis had this all-time low weight. What does it mean? Okay, he's got an all-time low weight. He looks skinnier, but he doesn't really look thin. He doesn't look ripped. He looks Derrick Lewis with a few less pounds of bulk on him. Plus 250 for Lewis. That could make him weaker. What if Teixeira just decides to shock us with takedowns? We've seen Derrick Lewis submitted before. The over is plus 185. I feel like it's a violent fight. I feel like it's a knockout. Fight ends in 59 seconds or less, plus 450. Teixeira wins via KO, minus 185. Teixeira wins KO round number 1, plus 135. Is there a Teixeira wins in the first minute? Is there a Teixeira wins in the first minute? I don't see it. Spread on Teixeira, minus 220, yes. Knockout, yes. Violent win, yes. Dominant win, yes. Knockout in the first round, I'm saying yes. Could it be earlier? Maybe. Could be fucking, I mean, obviously it'd be in the first round, but it could be like in a minute. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know, chat. I got this feeling about this fight that Teixeira could catch him quick. I think Lewis's lights are getting shut off. I think he's getting absolutely ran over by this young Brazilian savage. I'm going Talison Teixeira by knockout. I think he lands either a big straight or potentially a knee to the body and close that gasses Derrick Lewis and shuts the body down. He tightens up, and then Teixeira drops some big shots like he did with Tafa. Teixeira looks good, man. 25 versus 40, 15-year age difference between the two. Teixeira taller, longer, undefeated. Yeah, he hasn't proven it against anybody yet, but he's in this big spot for a reason, and the UFC needs heavyweight prospects. As much as they love Derrick Lewis, they really hoping he pulls through against this young kid. We need him. I'm going Talison Teixeira by knockout over Derrick Lewis, and I do think this is towards the twilight of the Derrick Lewis run. I'm sure he's got a couple fights left, but I think he loses to this dynamic striker from Brazil who's 6'7", undefeated, and I think primed to at least have some UFC success. I'm going with the new generation. I'm going with the 25-year-old Brazilian. I'm going Talison Teixeira by knockout in the first round. Now, those are the predictions for UFC Nashville, but I want to glance over what we talked about for parlays, and really I want to talk about them after the fact. So safe but boring, yes, it should still be good. Does anything concern me is what I'm really asking. We got the Savage Lotto ticket at the bottom with Curtis, Walker, Teixeira KO, Bonfim sub, Kattar Garcia over, plus 2240. I still love that one. I still love it. Is there any red flag around what I've done? Truthfully, I feel confident in what I have listed from earlier on in the week. Obviously, you know, Lock City, I talked about a little. The lock of the week, I'm going plus money per usual. We're doing a 2-leg parlay. Over 1.5, Kattar Garcia and Chris Curtis at plus 116. One every Lock City parlay and underdog lock. Obviously, the section is the same depending on what I do. The plus money tag, 4-0 across June. And I'm looking to keep the streak going and start July off right. And I feel the Lock City parlay is fantastic for this card. It seems like the right call. It seems like Walker and Teixeira get KOs. Is there anything else that I want to do? I'm asking myself right now. I'm like, I like my parlay. Sometimes like, oh, I want to add some more to the slate. But it's like, I feel like I fucking cooked up for you guys this week. I'm feeling good. I'm looking at the DGen Savage and I'm looking at the Lotto ticket. And I'm like, okay, if Walker can come through, we're living lavishly. It's up to Walker. But I feel good about the calls. I feel great about the calls, really. I'm looking, is there anything else that calls my name? Is there? Is there anything new that says, yo, go for that? I'm looking through it all right now. I like where my head's at with everything. Like normally I like to throw something different for post-weigh-in, but I feel good about what I got. All right, you want to go Teixeira, Bonfim, minus 132, add it as another safe but boring. Boom, something different for you. But I think Teixeira, Bonfim, Davis, Kurtz, like I like the confident picks, the over indicator fight. I like Walker as an underdog. I like the violence props that I'm calling. I think these are good, man. Let me know in the comments if you came up with something different post-weigh-in, but I feel like I like what I've written down. You could go Teixeira, right? You could go with the big boy at the top. You could go Petrino. It's minus 160. Not great odds. You want to go Bonfim there. It's plus 103. A little alternate three-legger. You don't want to play Curtis, and you don't want to play Davis. If you want to mix things up a little bit. Something you could consider. You still want Davis on there? You don't get much. It's only plus 126. Nothing added. Add Curtis, it's 2-1, and that's a fucking 5-leg parlay for 2-1. I think Wednesday's calls are perfect calls, and I'm not going to make any crazy shit that's new. Look at the lineups. I think they're all speaking pretty volume, you know, pretty strong, pretty volume. They're all speaking volumes. Curtis, Walker, Teixeira, KO at plus 526. If Walker comes through, a ton of these Savage plays hit. I like where my head's at, guys. Let me know in the comments if you do too. Also, let me know what you thought of the predictions. I want to hear from the people. Post weigh-in show. Another badass show in the books. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you guys smash the likes. If you're new to the channel, subscribe it up. W to the community. Drop a W in the comments. You got nothing to say. Full card fight companion. So make sure you guys tune into that. I love you guys. I'm very excited to have the UFC back. And I can't wait for this fight companion. All right? Love you all. Thank you guys for watching. and turn the post notifications on before you bail so you don't miss a video or live stream because I got content every single day of the week. We're back on the horse. Let's get it. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Much love. Peace out.